You're listening to Flaunt. Find your sparkle and create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal. A podcast for women who've been betrayed by their intimate partner and want to turn their devastation into an invitation to reclaim themselves and their worth. Tune in weekly so you can start making sense of it all and learn how to be okay on the inside, no matter what goes on the outside. Download your free Betrayal Recovery Toolkit at betrayalrecoveryguide.com.
Here we are, the perfect couple. We have done everything right. We are smart. We are together. We are connected. We are committed. And we put on this great show. And then what happens? Oh my gosh. Infidelity? Betrayal? How could that happen to us of all couples? If you have ever felt that way, then this is the show for you. My guest today is amazing. I'm just going to say that right up front. We connected before this episode and I loved what she has to say about perfectionism, about that whole perfect couple veneer and how we try so hard, honestly and legitimately, but what it does to us, both in the downfall and in the healing. My guest is Rachel Dornianu. And I hope I said that correctly. Welcome to the show, Rachel. I'm really looking forward to this conversation.
Me too. What a solid intro. That was beautiful.
Oh, good. Thank you. Thank you. Could you start by sharing a little bit more about yourself? Why you are an expert in kind of this whole trifecta of perfectionism and highly sensitive and being a type A personality?
Sure. Yeah. So besides personal experience that I'm a recovering perfectionist, highly sensitive person, recovering people pleaser, if anything, I think there's a lot of power in personal experience. But besides that, I have done an absurd amount of trainings, worked with many, many clients. I must say for a long time, 80% of my caseload was that cute little trifecta. And so I figured it was a lovely thing to add when there's some perfectionism in couples and when we get overstimulated, dysregulated, all those fun psych terms out there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just want to throw in around about this too, because I too can relate to that. But here's the thing. When I was going through this before the infidelity, if somebody would have said, "Are you a perfectionist?" I would have said, No. I just like to do things right.
Mm-hmm. It's a great thought.
Yeah.
A great thought. But usually it's a lot of the perfectionists that I work with. It's wild how many of them say that they're like, no, I either just want to do things right, or I'm a high achiever, or I'm just a great academic student, or I work well at my job and I have the hard work ethic. I hear all of that all the time. And then as we start going through something called the CBT workbook for perfectionism, I'll link it in show notes if that's helpful.
Please.
But as we start going through different types of perfectionism, how it affects our lives, how it affects our relationships, they're like, oh God, I am a perfectionist. Got it. So now please help me. Mm-hmm. So it's wild, the people that come in thinking it's something else.
Yeah, absolutely. And I know you can't diagnose just in a vacuum here, but in general, what is the difference between, no, I just like to do things right and I am a high achiever, and perfectionism?
Sure. So the things that I think about is there's three main types of perfectionism. So there's self-oriented, other-oriented, and socially prescribed. So with self-oriented, it's, if anything, it is all about you, of having high standards for yourself, doing well. And then there's the other oriented of where it's more if you have high expectations for others, and when they don't meet those expectations, then you're frustrated. And then socially prescribed is where it's maybe like a parent, an authority figure, a coach. I think a lot of people that are like, were athletes in high school and college, they're like, oh, well, they have these expectations for me and I must meet them. When in actuality, they're just trying to make sure you're doing okay. So I think about those main types of perfectionism, but there's nothing wrong with wanting to do well. Nothing wrong with that. I just want to
Right.
go ahead and validate the whole audience that it's okay to want to do well. But there's a difference of wanting to do well and letting it become all consuming, letting it affect your mental health, letting it bleed into other parts of your life of where we can't maybe fall asleep at night because our brain is running of like, oh, let me solve this and this and this and this, and then I'll be able to do this. There's a lot of that hurdle situation and thinking of if I just did this, I'd be okay. But then there's a million other hurdles too.
Yes. And I want to come back to that when it comes to healing from infidelity, because that certainly shows up all the time. If I could just get validation, if I could just do this, if I could just figure that out. So definitely I want to come back to that. But for now, I kind of want to talk about that whole persona of the perfect couple. It's usually both people who are kind of leaning into that. And it is a good relationship. So what's wrong with two high achievers wanting the best for themselves and the best from each other and the best from the relationship, even though it's still kind of hard sometimes?
Oh, I mean, hey, on the outside, it sounds lovely. In a book, in maybe like when you're going out for coffee with your girlfriends, anything like that, that all sounds lovely. But that is, to me, that feels like an Instagram highlight reel of it just being like, oh, we're achieving well, we're doing okay, the kids are in great schools, we love each other and have cute Valentine's posts, because we're recording this a couple of days after Valentine's, that this is a truly lovely marriage, relationship, partnership, whatever it is that you call it. But the concerning thing is like, where's the deeper connection, the emotional intimacy, maybe the physical intimacy? When was the last time you did something with your partner? The lack of empathy and understanding and allowing for this person to just be human for a moment, that tends to be lacking if you're just saying go, go, go all the time.
I really love that description, because I know in my own marriage, pre-infidelity, and I know in a lot of the people that I work with too, I hear this phrase: life is like a sprint to the finish line, and I'm exhausted every day, and I'm working full tilt. My partner is working full tilt. But you're right. There's no pause. There's no intimacy. There's no, let's just drop it all for a little bit and connect.
Right. That, as a therapist, that sounds lovely. Just a moment to sit and chat. And if that's a weekend away, oh, love that for you. If it's 5 minutes of cuddling on the couch before you pass out after putting the kids to bed, that counts too.
Yeah. And I want to point out, there's a difference between a date night, because we do a date night every Thursday and it's perfect and we do things perfectly, and a real connected date night.
Sure. Absolutely. I mean, something I'm curious about is, how would you describe that to your audience of what is this every Thursday date night versus a deeper connection? What does that sound like with the people you've worked with?
Yeah. So often people will say, well, we had dinner every Thursday. I got dressed up every Thursday and we had dinner every Thursday, and it was amazing. And we always go to like the best restaurants and we always do these best things, which sounds wonderful. I want that too. But what I've often am saying to people is, can you just sometimes, like you said, lay in bed and talk, take a walk. Some of my husband and we've had our deepest conversations sometimes taking this walk in the mountains that's near our home. We're not dressed up. We're not doing anything. We're sticking on our old hiking boots and we're walking this big hour-long circle hike. And we're talking, and then sometimes we're just in silence together, and that's delicious.
That sounds so nice right now.
Yes, it does. So here's the thing that I really want to unpack with you. We know on the one hand that a perfect relationship is a myth. We truly know that.
Yeah.
And yet we do live in this social media, Instagram focused world where we want to get that. And very few of us are trained with relational skills, and we don't know what it means because our parents didn't have it. So what are we supposed to do?
Mm. So, oh gosh, I have so many things I could share. The things I think about first is taking a hard look at how you treat yourself and how you treat your partner. Because there's a lot to say about how you treat yourself. If you're someone that's being walked all over, or if you're walking on eggshells, that all of that can be really telling of a relationship. But also knowing that if you take a moment to check in with your partner and say, hey, what were your highs and lows of your day? Not just, was your day okay? Like that's such a brief check-in, which feels okay in the moment. Okay, check the box. I checked in to make sure they didn't die on their way home. Okay, they're fine, and we're moving on. And now I'm doing the dishes, and it's just, hey, what were some highs and lows? Did you have that great conversation with your boss? Did you get a chance to check in on your colleague that just had their partner pass? What's going on in your world? Because I want to know, because I care. If that's happening, that's beautiful. And that's what we're talking about, the emotional intimacy and the great conversations. It doesn't have to be this beautiful dressed up Thursday night swanky dinner. It's how are you, rather than how are we in the state of the world, or how are we measuring up against our neighbors? That's not the same. So checking in with each other first is something I think about, but I also would think about how you're talking to each other. Are you using I language? If I feel, I saw, I heard, I observed, it's all from your perspective rather than you did this, you did that, you screwed this up. Right. Mm-hmm. So think of how you're talking to each other. There's something called the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse from the Gottman method couples therapy. If you guys have heard of that before and maybe covered it in a past episode. If not, I'm happy to run through it.
We have not covered it in a past episode, and it's powerful. So yes, let's take a pause and go through that because.
Yeah. Oh, I would love to. Okay. Get ready for a small monologue. Okay. Mm-hmm. So there are 4 main ways that we handle conflict ineffectively. So that would be criticism, defensiveness, contempt, and stonewalling or emotional flooding. Criticism is critical. You did this. You screwed that up. Defensiveness is when you shy away from responsibility. You might play a victim of, I know I did this, but you did that. And then contempt is the nasty one. Technically, that's the one that's more predictive of divorce and separation, is you knock your partner down a peg. It's insulting. One of the examples I use when describing it to clients, I don't use this by any means, but you lazy slime ball. How could you forget to do this thing? I knew how to tell time when I was 5. Get your shit together. Like, it's mean. And then there's stonewalling and emotional flooding. And that's when you're not just mad. You're not just sad. It's okay to feel those emotions. Yay for emotions. Therapist approved here. But when you are emotionally flooded, your prefrontal cortex, like if we imagine this is your prefrontal cortex, your brain's going offline. You're operating on the brainstem back here of where it is true fight, flight, freeze, or fawn. Those are just basic responses of survival. And so if your body is experiencing that, you are not in a headspace to have any kind of healthy conversation anymore. It's not happening. So those are the 4 main ways we handle conflict. I would suggest for you to figure out which one or ones do you deal with most and which ones or ones does your partner deal with, and have a conversation. If it's helpful, I can go over ways to combat them if that would be helpful, Laura.
Yeah, that would be great. And before we go into that, I want to say thank you. Yes. And you had mentioned something earlier. You had mentioned something about walking on eggshells. And what I want to say is, if you are thinking, oh yeah, my partner does that, but I know how to manage him, I just never set him off. That is not a perfect relationship. That is not healthy. That is you diminishing yourself, not getting your needs met, and completely shrinking. So yay, you created a quiet household, but at what expense?
I feel like we need to put that on a t-shirt somewhere. That's so needed. Just check in of like, am I actually being my true self or am I fawning? And fawning is where you diminish yourself and you're like, there, let me calm the lion, whatever is attacking me, so that I'm safe. Oh, it's intense. There's a plenty of women that do fawning and walk on eggshells is what feels safer.
Yeah.
So I get that.
Yeah.
The ways to combat the 4 horsemen. So if we're dealing with criticism, we're going to use something called gentle startup. And so gentle startup is, instead of you screwed this up, it's, hey, could you help me with this? Would you mind making it a priority this evening to do this? It's a literal gentle lead in into an ask or a request. The way to combat defensiveness is to take responsibility. As a fellow defensive individual, this is easier said than done. Mm-hmm. With that said, it's my bad. I forgot to unload the dishwasher yesterday. I'll make it a priority this morning. Thanks for the reminder.
Mm-hmm.
Difficult.
Yes.
If you're dealing with contempt, what you want to do is describe your own feelings and needs and not describe your partner. So there's a really helpful sentence formula of I feel in the blank of this emotion when this situation happens and I need blank. So for an example, I feel flustered when we're late to a dinner reservation and I need for us to be on time so I can enjoy quality time together and not feel rushed.
Yes.
So keep in mind that need is I need to be able to be calm to enjoy our quality time and our date night. If it's on, date night swanky Thursdays, not I need to be early to look at the drink menu. That's a want.
Right.
So keeping that in check. And then the way to combat the emotional flooding, the stonewalling, that kind of thing is to do something called physiological self-soothing, psychobabble. Find a way to calm down. Mm-hmm. The way to do that, keep in mind, is that they've done research on this. They have cortisol, which is the stress hormone in your brain. It's released from your brain into your bloodstream. Mm-hmm. And it takes 20 minutes for cortisol to leave your bloodstream. That's a long time.
That is a long time.
For anyone that's like a millennial Gen X kind of person listening, that's an episode of Friends without commercials. So you can try and maybe watch an episode of Friends, go for a walk, something like that. But the thing that I suggest is if you or your partner are planning to leave the situation for any reason, please tell them where you're going, when you'll be coming back, because as the person that's going to be on the receiving end of that, they may be freaking out saying, oh my gosh, is my partner leaving me?
Yes.
Nope. They're going for a drive. They'll be back in 30 minutes. We can check in and chat later. Mm-hmm. So that's the 4 horsemen.
I love that. I love that. So what we've got, we have this couple that pretends to be perfect on the outside. These 4 horsemen probably keep popping up, but mm-hmm. in some way or another, they're pushed down. They're ignored. We're legitimately busy. We're legitimately busy. We have families, we have kids, we have everything. We move on. And then all of a sudden, infidelity happens. Mm-hmm. Wait, what? Mm-hmm. How can that be? I thought you were perfect. You thought I was perfect. Mm-hmm. I put you on a pedestal. You put me on a pedestal. We live to each other's standards. And now what happened?
Mm-hmm. Well, keep in mind, every couple is different, but typically the things that I think about is that there was avoidance. We brushed things under the rug, which tends to happen often. That one thing that was missed, I'm annoyed, but it's fine. Or they forgot my birthday. I'm a little bit more peeved. It's building, but it's fine. Don't worry about it. All that avoidance. Right. I got this. It's fine. Actually, you're still hurt. Let's talk about it. More of that defensive stuff we talked about. It could be maybe some pulling away, some withdrawing of like, no, I'm going to make sure I focus on getting the kids to soccer at 5. I'm going to do X, Y, and Z. This is my priority. The in-laws, especially anyone in the sandwich generation. You guys are exhausted of dealing with the kids and the in-laws, the parents, possibly living in your home. You're swamped. Whether you work in the home or if you have a job outside of the home, you're doing a lot. And when that's happening and you get more and more busy and overwhelmed and you're just go all day and then crash, you're not having that connection with your partner and things are going to build. There's going to be maybe avoidance, withdrawing, resentment is going to build and build and build. And that's what I've noticed with the clients I work with, that is just, we we've completely missed each other and we're ships passing in the night. It's roommate syndrome at that point sometimes.
Yeah. And you know what's interesting about that too, because this happened to me and my husband, and it's a very common thing that I hear from other people. You don't realize you're in roommate syndrome. You don't realize your ships passing in the night because you think I'm adulting. I'm dealing with my own stuff. You deal with your stuff. I got mine. I'll, connect with my friends when I need your emotional stuff. Don't worry. And I know you're busy. Don't worry. You don't even realize you're falling apart. And I think that's the most insidious piece of this whole puzzle.
It's so sad when you word it that way. But yeah, it's so, so true. And you want it to be great. You think it's great, right? If there was a concern, hopefully you would have talked with your partner or gone to counseling or therapy or coaching or something to be like, let's talk about this and work on it. But if you think everything's lovely, that's a full knockback of what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
Yeah.
With the clients that you work with, what are some of the biggest things that they mention when they first reach out to you of their concerns of where did this come from?
They are so blindsided. They truly are blindsided. And most people will say, I thought we were in this together. He was doing his part. I was doing my part, but we were all working for the common goal. And little did I know, I was over here doing my part, pulling all of this weight. Again, whether it's emotional weight, financial weight, whatever. Here I am working for this, and they're over there philandering on the side. And it seems like such an additional slap in the face because they're working so hard.
Oh, I wish I could be a fly on the wall and sit in on all the calls that you have, because I have no doubt that it would be, one, fascinating from a therapeutic perspective, but two, to understand that the women that you're working with are not alone, but also the listeners that are just trying to understand what, before we even get to this point, I'm starting to have an inkling of something going on. I'm being proactive. How can I stop this from happening? That they're able to realize, wow, I feel validated. I feel heard. Oh, you got good stuff.
It is good stuff. It's just a shame that it has to be so bad in order to get to the gold, because there's always gold there. And that's something I do want listeners to know. There really always is gold there. You can uncover connection. You can uncover better intimacy. You can uncover your own trauma history, your own past, whatever it is. There's something there that is worth doing the work for.
Beautiful. I just love how you talk. I could listen to you talk all day.
Thank you. I feel the same about you.
I know that there was something we mentioned earlier about that affairs rarely happen in a vacuum. There's loneliness, identity crisis, lack of validation. There's opportunity, vulnerability. What are the things that you see first? Yes,
because everybody is hurting in life, I think. Everybody hurts in relationships. And you were talking about the 4 horsemen. They are bad coping mechanisms. We have so many bad coping mechanisms, and it's my personal belief that an affair is yet another bad coping mechanism. And I thought we were the perfect couple, and I was emotionally lonely, but I thought that was okay because it was something that we were going through, because we were working together for it. So to cope with my emotional loneliness, I reached out to friends. I did yoga. I leaned into spirituality. I had a whole bunch of healthy coping mechanisms, and yet still they were coping mechanisms because I was lonely and neglected in my marriage. On my husband's side, he had a background in trauma. I think many people who cheat do have a background in trauma. And when we were unpacking this, and I'd say, what were you thinking? How could you do this? His answer was always, I thought I was helping myself. I thought I was feeling better. I thought I was getting validation. I was getting validation. It didn't have anything to do with sex. It didn't have anything to do with the marriage. It didn't have anything to do with you. I was getting something that I needed, and I needed validation, and I needed easy fixes, and I needed somebody who was always available. So it's a coping mechanism.
Makes sense to me.
Mm-hmm.
Not that to clarify, I'm not saying like cheating is fine.
No.
Disclaimer. I'm not saying that.
No.
But if you come from that perspective of, I was seeking something to feel a glimmer of hope, to feel better in some way, to have a Band-Aid. Makes sense.
Yeah, it does make sense. And it also makes sense. Why weren't you thinking about me? Why weren't you thinking about the kids? Well, because it wasn't about you. It was about me having somebody stroke my ego. Like,
right.
It wasn't about
you. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. So you have this perfect couple who's really working hard, trying hard. Nobody's doing anything wrong. I think that's the biggest thing that I want to get across. People usually aren't doing anything wrong, even the cheater. I don't think the cheater is usually a morally corrupt individual who is out to create havoc. I think they are a wounded person who is doing the best that they can with the resources they have and is making horrific decisions and doesn't really get it. Everything hits the fan.
Yeah.
The identity crumbles. I'm not perfect. He's not perfect. We're not perfect. How can I get back to that? Because from that state of, holy cow, everything I thought I was is not true. Everything I thought we were is not true. How do we recover both as individuals and as a couple from that state of, we're on pedestals and it's amazing, to nothing?
Oh, I have so many fun things. Okay. So the thing I think about first is making sure that if you, for some reason, don't have a great support system in the first place, that you find one. If that's a support group, if that's reconnecting with an old friend, if it's being part of some kind of group, maybe something that Laura offers is something to look into, that I want to make sure you've got really lovely people that will listen to you and not judge you, whichever side you're on. If you're on the cheater or the cheatee or whatever words we're going to throw in here, that you want to make sure that you've got people that will be understanding, just be like, hey, this is a tough spot and I'm going to support you however you want to work on this. So great support system. Great support system is great. We want to make sure we have great coping skills as well. You mentioned yoga. Yoga's lovely. Deep breathing, ways to have nervous system regulation. If we're not regulated, we're not going to have a great conversation. We're not going to be in a good headspace to get to coaching, to therapy, what have you. It's not going to go well. So I want to make sure that you're able to calm yourself. And then at some point, whether that's with any of the services we've talked about, they're able to do some co-regulation as well. That if that's just saying, let's take a breather, time out, pause, blue banana, whatever code word you want to throw out there, that you're able to be like, okay, I'm getting too heated. I need to take a step back and we can talk about this in a different time. That all of those are great foundational pieces. There's also something, if you can't tell, I'm obsessed with Gottman method couples therapy, that they have something called atone, attune, and attach.
Yes.
And I think that's really, really important when you're doing any kind of repair work, is that you're atoning for what happened. You're tuning into each other again. And we're going to build some new attachments and have a new chapter. One of the trainings I went to, surprisingly during COVID, was that you are closing that chapter of your marriage, of your partnership. Not that the whole thing is ending, but if you're willing to work on it and you're both willing to work on it, that you're going to be starting a new chapter together going forward. And that's building a new foundation. There's even like an imagery of building a chair, the chair method in a sense. I wish I knew all the details on it. I am not specialized in that piece. So let me clarify that. But if you don't have the four legs of a chair sturdy before you place the seat on top, it's going to wobble and it's going to fall over. So you want to make sure that you have certain pillars, and I would love to find them.
And I'll just say a few things while you're looking too. There's many things that I appreciate about the Gottman method. There's many things about many methods. I do a lot of relational life therapy as well. There's so many pieces that I think it's important to pull from, because you had said earlier too, all couples are different. And I think now is a really important time to say all affairs are different too. And my specialty is really the kind of affair where there's trauma, where it's a coping mechanism. There are affairs, not as many, but there are affairs where somebody legitimately falls in love with somebody and they are in a legitimately bad marriage and it's an exit affair and they want to do this to get out and it's okay. I mean,
Absolutely.
I don't want to say it's okay, but there are many different kinds of affairs. But I think the most confusing kind is the kind that I talk about the most, the kind that I specialize in. And that is when there's trauma and the partner is cheating in a weird way in order to stay in the marriage.
Say more on that. What does that look like? Give me an example.
Yeah, it's where one partner, and again, typically with a trauma background, does not really know how to identify what it is they're feeling. Does not know how to communicate their needs, does not know how to be relational. They are just hurt all the time. They are doing whatever they can in the moment in order to survive, in order to feel good. And sometimes that looks like some kind of maladaptive behavior like cheating, like prostitution, like porn, like they're doing anything desperately to feel good because they want to be a good person. They want to be a good husband. They want to be a good father. They want to be a good man. It's just that it's so hard and they can't even identify what's wrong. And it's taken, I've talked about this on the show before too. It's been 8 years since this all came out for my husband and I. He is still figuring out different things that he didn't know. You know, he'll be like, whoa, did you know humiliation feels like? And he'll say, I can look back and I realize I felt humiliated by that, but I didn't have the words for that. And to communicate that to you would have broken me down. I would have felt so worthless. So instead of feeling humiliated and then feeling worthless, I'm just going to be a butthead to you. I'm going to dismiss you, dismiss the kids, create a fight so I can go sit in the car and text a girlfriend because she's going to tell me I'm great.
For anyone that's listening, I hope that she just like rang a bell for you because I hear that all the time.
Yeah.
All the time.
All the time.
From both sides. I work with men and with women, anyone non-binary, all the fun alphabet soup things. Yes. But I hear it of I am going to do the thing that feels easier rather than I'm going to do the hard thing and be able to communicate with my partner and find some safety and validation and understanding from them.
Yeah. And it's hard to do the hard thing, especially when you don't know what it is.
Yeah. And finding the words for it is hard. I've noticed so many men are having trouble with finding emotion words. Women are just naturally really good at it. We are chatty ladies, and that's okay. We're cool with that. We're literally why we're on a podcast right now. Yes. But with that said, the men will be like, I'm mad, I'm angry. And that's the only societally acceptable emotion to have compared to I'm sad, I'm scared, I'm anxious, I'm feeling not good enough. Those are not societally acceptable. So they're going to lash out because that's what feels okay in their mind. This breaks my heart.
Yeah.
I did find an attempt at what I'm looking for.
Okay.
Which is so frustrating. If I find the actual thing, I will let you know because it was gold and I learned it years ago, but it's left my brain. So
that's okay.
Dear Google says the 4 legs, a stable relationship like a sturdy table requires 4 key pillars. If one is missing or weak, the relationship becomes wobbly. Fair. So it says emotional connection, which is intimacy and understanding. Physical connection, which is compatibility and affection. Intellectual connection, shared values, goals, and mental stimulation. and social or spiritual identity, a shared worldview or public identity as a couple.
Nice.
So I think that's quite well done. It's not the exact thing I'm looking for, but it'll do for now.
It does. I like that and I appreciate that. And what I also like about that is it feels normal. It makes sense. And I can see again doing this perfectionism thing. Yes, we have that. Let's not talk about the ways we don't disagree because yes, we have that.
Right. Oh my gosh. Yes. Especially whenever I have couples, like when I first have them come in, we'll do the Gottman method, relationship checkup assessment. It is lengthy. It's like 200 questions. It's a doozy. And so when they're going through it, they're like, most of that sounds right. Yeah. And I'm like, no, take it again. Take it again. Don't perform for the assessment. Don't try and get an A+1. There's not a thing on that assessment. But 2, I need you to tell me where you are currently. What's the snapshot of where you are in your relationship? Because that's where we're going to do the work, not everything's great. Then why are you here?
Mm-hmm.
So I love when they'll be like, for the most part, we agree, but then we disagree on this one political figure or on this one cultural event. You might want to talk about it. Let's not brush it under the rug.
Right. And it's so hard to talk about some of the things because it puts in your face some of the things that you don't want to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And that is one of I hate saying the gifts of infidelity because it just sounds so cheesy, but that is one of the gifts of it. It puts these things in your face that you're like, well, darn it. I didn't want to have to talk about that. Darn it. I didn't want to have to address that. Darn it. I didn't want to have to see that.
Mm-hmm. And that's where that's that new chapter.
Yes. So here's what I want to hear from you.
Yeah.
You get that gift and you have the decision. Do we stay together or we separate?
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes people say, what's easier? And I usually say, it depends.
Yes.
But it really does. But I'm a firm believer in either way, you need to address those things that you finally see. If you see it, you've got to address it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Yeah.
The thing that I also think about is just because you guys are able to get to a great talking space, or at least cordial talking space, does not mean that you're supposed to stay together or that you're supposed to separate.
Thank you.
There can be healing. There can be recovery, whatever word that feels okay for you. It doesn't have to be, I just think of the area that I live in, that it's a very conservative, traditional part of town that it's unheard of for there to be divorce or separation. And if there is, then, you guys must be, horrible and just hate each other and out for the worst things. No, you can still be great co-partners of fur babies or real babies. Because I know that takes work in itself, of being co-parents, of being able to have healthy things that feel right for you guys, and make sure there's still shared values and ways you want to raise the kids, interact with loved ones, especially a really close support group of friends, that there's ways to navigate that. And I would hate for it to just be an expectation of either we heal and we're together or we don't.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. What are some of the most common sticking points that you see?
For staying in it?
Yeah. Well, actually for either. Just the points where couples might come to you and they're doing the work and they're making progress, and then something comes up and either one or both partners are like, yeah, no.
Oh, that's hard to narrow it down.
Mm-hmm.
Lately, I'm so torn. Lately, it's been anything that deals with the kids, of figuring out what that's going to be. I've also noticed a huge influx of it being political, of like, I will not be with this person because they believe in X. Yes. They believe in whatever. And that's been wild. perhaps that's just the technology age that we're in and that kind of thing. But previously it just wasn't discussed of like political, religious, cultural stuff. So I've loved, maybe selfishly, I've loved seeing that come up of like, we're covering everything in the room when we talk about things. So those are things I think about, but I'm curious what comes up for you. What do you notice?
Typically men initially will deny. And then this moment hits where they realize I really am losing everything over this. And I don't want to lose everything. I want to make it work, but I don't know how. So that's usually that first place of vulnerability and I need help, but I'm not necessarily sure how. So that's point one. Then, going through the Gottman stuff, because I do a lot of that too, it's the atoning. I'm atoning. And then the second sticking point is women don't know how to receive that.
Oh my gosh. Yes.
Yeah.
I see that so often. The men are, or whomever, mainly men, but whomever is the one that has done the betrayal, that they're like, I'm doing everything that you said you wanted. Why can't you take it? Not in a like, how dare you not accept my apology? It's not that. It's like, I'm groveling here. What else do you want from me for us to move forward?
Yes.
And the women are like, just like you said, they're stuck. They're not sure how to move past it. They're not sure, do I want to forgive? Do I want to move on? Do I want to make them grovel a little more secretly? Oh my gosh, I see it all the time. What are the things that stick out most for you, for the women, of why they can't move forward or what they're looking for?
Shame. Shame in taking them back. Shame in saying, yes, I did stay. There's kind of this perception that you need to be strong and walk away. And that if you stay, something is wrong with you. You were a doormat, or you're staying for the money, or that you have just said, oh, hey, it's okay. Right. And that's another thing that I'm really passionate about. We need a new narrative, because most of the women that I work with who stay are the strongest women I have ever met. They are like, whoa, you can handle anything. You are the strongest person. And when they call me, like I do Voxer coaching, and I hear this all the time, like, am I being weak? Am I so stupid? And it's like, no, you're my hero. Honestly, you are holding so much and you are changing, and you've looked at your own wounds. You've looked at like your own perfectionism. You are breaking out of all of these things to become a better person. And the fact that your relationship is now successful is by and large a testament to who you are, not to how weak you are.
Right. The fact that you decided to turn a page and keep figuring things out, I applaud anyone that's willing to do that and has the courage to do that, because that's scary to be really vulnerable again. You could just let it scab over and be done. Yeah. So cool.
It's amazing. Well, we're getting close to the end here. And what I really wanted to ask you about was, we talked at the beginning, people who are perfectionists, type A, but then we were also talking about HSP, which is the high sensitivity. And I know there's some people who are like, I know what that is, but I don't really know what that is. And in conclusion, I was hoping you could share a little bit more about that, and why is an overlay that makes everything that we've talked about even feel so much more amplified.
Sure. So with highly sensitive people, also known as HSP, is that it's a personality trait. It's not a diagnosis. I just want to clarify that piece. There's people who are like, well, is that like a sensory processing disorder? No, there's some differences there. I don't have time to cover all of them. But that is, interestingly, it affects men and women equally. It affects 20% of the world. With that said, is that as a highly sensitive person, it's not just like, oh, it's an itchy fabric. Oh, I can't go to concerts. Like, it's not just one small thing. It's things I've noticed, at least, is that it's a majority of one sense. So for me, it's sound, that I am really, really, really in tune with. Like, if I listen to music, I'm sobbing. If I'm hearing the yard work people in my yard, I am like super irritated and just like tweaking over here because it's too much. If it's, like nails on a chalkboard or like a silverware on a plate, I'm done. Count me out. If I'm stuck in a car with my precious children and they're screaming and throwing a tantrum, I'm considering leaving the vehicle. Mm-hmm. That it is intense. It's not just, oh, I'm a little irritated. So keeping that in mind, when someone says they're highly sensitive, it is an overload. It is an overstimulation. Their nervous system has gone out the window. With that said, a lot of highly sensitive people are perfectionists or people pleasers because they're trying to have control of their environment as much as possible, or they're trying to perfect a certain situation and not have it happen again. They're trying to have a relationship that feels okay, that feels quote unquote right for them. And so that's with the perfectionist. With the people pleasers, it's more of the doormat effect or fawning of, I will do anything to not be yelled at. I'll do anything to not have to have X, Y, and Z happen in front of my children. I don't want this to be a thing. Therefore, I'm just going to stay silent and cower and get out of the situation as quickly as possible. So that the people pleasers and the perfectionist tend to go kind of hand in hand with highly sensitive. And I don't know the exact number because trying to take statistics and research with every therapy client ever would just not happen. But the majority of therapy clients that I've worked with and many of my other therapy colleagues have worked with is that they're highly sensitive. And so the things we've also noticed is that there tends to be a trend of adult women with ADHD, that they're coming in and being like, well, I saw this TikTok that talked about all these symptoms, and I've noticed that I might have this, or I might be, like level 1 on the spectrum of autism because I'm noticing these certain things. So if anything, HSP might be a small gateway of, I'm noticing I'm sensitive. Oh, I actually have these things. And this is where some of my trauma comes from with academics, with relationships, with trying to mask and figure out what does society want me to do and act like versus how I actually feel on the inside. And what am I turning off inside when I need to be a little bit more vulnerable and be like, none of that clicked for me. Obviously, I could talk about this all day, but I think there's really important things for people to just look inward and figure out, am I sensitive? Am I a perfectionist, a people pleaser? You don't have to label. You can just look at some of the symptoms, a quick chat GPT or Google search of what do these things look like, or even doing some really cool individual coaching and therapy and figure out what's going on for me before you even dive into your relationship. That could be powerful too.
Yeah. And I so appreciate that because we have to figure out ourselves first before we can come together in a relationship. And thank you for bringing together all of those pieces because there are so many things. And, whether it's attachment or being on the spectrum, we all have all the things,
Exactly.
We all have them. Exactly. And it's not about you're so messed up. It's about, okay, this is where I sit. This is where I stand. This is how I feel. And these are the things that make it challenging for me so I can better manage myself. And then as a loving partner, we can better support and manage each other.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Because, I've said this on other episodes. My husband has complex PTSD. It's not that I have to cower to that, but I have to be aware and I have to support him because I am choosing to live with somebody with complex PTSD.
Yes.
I have my own sensitivities. I'm definitely an HSP. There are clutter, visual overwhelm is my thing. He has to support me with that clutter and that visual overwhelm. Not because we're cowering to each other, but because we're coming together and to support each other.
Oh, well said. I love that.
Thank you. So I know you're licensed in several different states. I know you also do some coaching and some other things. You do a lot of work around sex therapy, all the different pieces. Yeah. Can you let people know where they can find out about you? How can you help them? All of those things.
Yeah, sure. So, like you said, I can do therapy for Georgia, Florida, South Carolina, and Vermont for funsies. And then coaching is worldwide. There's not really as many restrictions with coaching. Uh, Past that, you can find me on social platforms with Sage Counseling and Wellness. And if you happen to be local in the Atlanta area, I have an office in Cumming, Georgia, which is really convenient being a sex therapist in terms of marketing.
Exactly. Well, thank you so much for this conversation. I hope it rang a lot of bells, that people could kind of self-identify. Oh, maybe that is me. Maybe I am highly sensitive. Maybe it's just a bit of perfectionism coming out. And
I hope so too.
yeah. So thank you for your wisdom. Listeners, reach out. I'm going to go ahead and link the things that you had mentioned to the show notes as well as your website. But thank you. I really appreciate it.
Sure. Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
Good. And listeners, as usual, I want you to really focus on yourself, how you are feeling, what you want, what you're ready to step into from the place of curiosity, not from that place of judgment or shame or pointing fingers and diagnosing somebody else, but just from that space of, I'm curious. How could I feel? What might somebody else be feeling? And then as usual, always really, really, really remember to flaunt exactly who you are from that same space of acceptance, from vulnerability, and remembering to drop the perfectionism, drop the people pleasing, stop performing, start being, and flaunt exactly who you are, because who you are is always more than enough. Before we officially close today, I want to speak directly to you for just a moment. If you were listening to our conversation, which was a really, really good one, and if you were thinking, oh, that's us, or that might be me, or even, gosh, I don't know. I don't know if this is me or not, but I think there's something there. Or, this doesn't really sound like the kind of affair my partner had. Here's what I want you to hear. I want you to hear that you don't have to figure this all out alone. One of the biggest reasons that women stay stuck after betrayal truly is not because they're weak. It's not because they're confused. It's because they are trying to diagnose something that is incredibly complex inside their own head while they are still emotionally flooded. And I'm sorry, but nobody can do that. People are thinking, was this trauma driven? Was this loneliness? Did I do something wrong? Oh my gosh, was it an exit affair? Are they trying to tell me that they don't want to be married? Addiction. Maybe it was addiction. Do you think it was addiction? Validation seeking. Maybe that was it. Oh, I don't know. I still think it was about me. No, maybe it was about him. No, maybe it was about us. Maybe it was about sex. Maybe it was about oh my gosh, when you're inside it, everything feels tangled. And I mean, ask me how I know. I lived this and everything did feel tangled. But here's the thing. Information is good. I love information. I'm an attorney. I love that. But sometimes what you need isn't another book or another podcast or another late night Googling session. Sometimes truly what you need most is a calm, an experienced voice saying, just like we were doing today. Or let's slow down a little. Let's look at what actually happened and what that might mean as opposed to what you are thinking something means from the state of spinning. That is exactly why I offer everybody an introductory session. For only $97, you can talk to me personally, confidentially, one-on-one. Not because I want to sell you something. Oh my goodness. No, not because I think you're broken. This is not about pressure or signing you up for something. I offer these sessions because clarity changes everything. And being able to reach out to someone and have them catch you, have them hold you, have them hold space for you to do whatever it is that you need to do, whether it's rant or cry or just sit in silence and breathe, that changes everything. Everything. And in that single conversation, we can do whatever it is you want to do, whether it's help identifying what kind of a betrayal that you're actually dealing with, whether it's separating the trauma response from the truth, looking at your nervous system patterns and helping you find ways to calm down and regulate, or clarifying whether reconciliation, separation, or just a pause in the relationship might be the next right step. But most importantly, it's connection. You heard a little bit about connection today. It's just finding that connection to help you feel steady and seen again. Because you deserve steadiness. You deserve to be seen in your pain, in your strength. And I think most importantly, you deserve to start understanding your story. And you deserve to know that you are absolutely not crazy for the way that you're reacting. If you didn't know, these sessions are one-on-one, just me and you. You can book your session at introductorysession.com. It's private. It's confidential. It's direct. It is just you and me. It's not about performance. It's not about perfectionism. It's not about roping you into anything. It's just clarity. And I also want to say this, because sometimes what you need is the deeper therapeutic support, especially if trauma is involved. So if you're looking for that, reach out to Rachel. Get the help that you need. Because here's what I want. I want to make sure that you are not performing strength. I want to make sure that you're not white knuckling this and pretending that you're fine and trying to hold it all together. I want to make sure that you are held and seen and loved and supported in the ways that you should be. If this episode stirred something in you, that's information. Follow it. Follow that information with curiosity, not with judgment. And if you're ready to stop guessing and to start understanding what is really happening, both inside your relationship and inside yourself, then book the session. Let's talk. Because the myth of the perfect couple is a myth. The myth of the perfect couple is a myth. It breaks down. But the woman underneath it, she gets stronger than she's ever been. And that woman is who we are here for. And what I want you to know from the bottom of my heart, from the depths of my soul, is that that woman is you. Let's uncover her together. introductorysession.com.
Tune in next time to Flaunt, find your sparkle, and create a life you love after infidelity or betrayal with Laura Cheadle every Wednesday at 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on syndicated Dream Vision 7 Radio Network. Uncover the truth of what's possible for you on the other side of betrayal and develop the skills and strategies necessary to embrace the future and flourish today. Download your free Betrayal Recovery Toolkit at betrayalrecoveryguide.com.